Not today. I was worried about fire ants while I was walking over.
Things you should know. Reminder to check the back of the bulletin. Reminder to silence all electronics as we enter into a sacred space. Reminder, this is being live streamed. Our June 14th special offering will benefit the Laurel Civic Center. Laurel Civic runs a food pantry, after-school tutoring, summer reading program, a summer life skills camp for teens, workforce development, and more to enrich the lives of local children and families. If you'd like to write a check, please make it out to UCOV and write Laurel Civic on the memo line. Our Lanai collection for household families moving into affordable housing with help of Streets of Paradise will run, well, it ran last week and today. See Janet Knudsen, Janet, raise her hand, or Mo Morrison, she's probably out in Lanai, she is, for a list of items needed. Streets of Paradise provides outreach to the unhoused in Sarasota and Manatee counties. They deliver over 150 hot meals per week, hygiene kits, clothing, blankets, and water. Their mobile unit provides showers and laundry facilities. If you prefer to write a check, please make it out to UCOV and write Streets of Paradise on the memo line. The last thing you should know is that Waters Hall Improvement Survey will be sent to the congregation next week, probably June 16th or 17th. Please complete it right away. It will only take 5 minutes, and the Waters Hall Improvement Committee would really like everyone's feedback. For those who already completed the pre-test survey, please do so again because some changes were made. We light this chalice for the ministry we share, not the work of one person or one committee or one voice speaking for all, but the holy and human work of a community learning to love, serve, forgive, build, and begin again together. Good morning and welcome to UCOV, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice. Today we want to welcome our summer minister, Will Esty. Will holds an undergraduate degree in theater from the University of Evansville, Indiana, and a Master of Divinity from Meadville Lombard Theological School in Milwaukee. And where?
Chicago.
In Chicago.
Chicago.
In Chicago, okay. Whether you are here every Sunday or for the first time or watching from home, we are glad you are here. Your presence matters. Today's service is about shared ministry. Now, sometimes when people hear the word ministry, they think of the minister. That makes sense. It is right here in the job title. But in a congregation, ministry is much bigger than one person, one role, or one voice. Ministry happens when someone notices a newcomer standing alone and says, "Come and sit with me." Ministry happens when chairs are arranged, coffee is made, flowers are put in the vases, candles are lit, music is practiced, people are welcomed, and someone quietly checks in on a friend who has been missing. Ministry happens in committee meetings. Yes, even the long ones. It happens in hard conversations, shared laughter, casseroles, phone calls, cleanup days, and all the small acts of care that rarely make announcements, but hold a community together. Shared ministry means that this congregation is not something we consume. It is something we create together. It means that each of us brings something, a gift, a question, a story, a skill, a hope, a hand willing to help. Some days we bring strength, and some days we bring need. Most days we bring a little of both. And somehow, when we bring what we have and receive what others offer, something sacred takes shape among us. So today, may we remember that we are not simply an audience gathered to watch worship happen. We are a community gathered to make meaning, to deepen love, to practice care, and to build the world we long for, beginning right here. Welcome to this service. Welcome to the ministry we share. Please rise, embody your spirit, and join us in singing our opening hymn, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. 3 verses.
Open your ears to the song. Universalist chalice has been a beacon of hope for a weary and hurting world. Here at UCOV, it is my understanding that we like to offer with a little bit of humor because we think that giving should make you feel good. And so, in that spirit, a small story. A UU church had once again failed to make its budget, and the minister was getting desperate. Then, inspiration struck. When congregants arrived on Sunday morning, they heard him in the garden, deep inside a clump of bushes. He was chanting, 5, 5, 5, 5, over and over again. A brave congregant pushed his way through the tall greenery and found the minister jumping up and down on the grass beside a flat wooden square made up of 2 pieces of plywood. "Why are you saying 5 and jumping around?" the congregant asked. "Okay, if you really want to know the secret," the minister said as he leaned in close and dropped to a whisper, "give me $20, stand on the wood, start jumping up and down, and each time you hit, say 5. I promise, it's amazing." Congregant figured, what the heck, hands the minister $20 and begins to jump up and down on the piece of wood, yelling 5, 5, 5. And on the 4th jump, the minister pulls a hidden lever the congregant hadn't seen, and the 2 pieces of wood open like trapdoors, dropping the man into a deep pit. The minister began to jump again, chanting, 6, 6, 6. Now, Rev Amy has told me that she does have a shovel and is quite willing to make Steve dig a hole, so let us give generously. The morning offering will now be gratefully given and received. Thank you for the gifts of time, talent, and treasure that you offer to this community. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together here as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. If you have something to share, please raise a hand and someone will bring you a microphone. We will light a candle for you.
But I wanted to mention that several weeks ago, I read an obituary in the Herald Tribune for the Reverend Dr. Brock Leach. He was a guest speaker here last summer, and I spoke with him afterwards in the Lanai, and was really moved by our conversation. I felt he was someone I wanted to know. He had a unique life, I think, for a very successful career as a corporate executive at PepsiCo before he became a Unitarian minister. And I shared with him details about my own interview at the headquarters of Pepsi in the 1970s when I had an interview in the marketing department. And partway through, I realized I didn't want to be selling soda and salty chips, and I didn't want the job. So, I just sort of clammed up and said thank you and left.
My daughter had a very busy week. She celebrated her 28th birthday, and she is finally engaged to her boyfriend of 9 years.
My name is Roxy Platt, and I am, good news, entering a clinical trial next week, which we hope is going to be the solution for brain cancer. And that's the good news. The bad news is I have to stay in a hotel room for 5 weeks next to Moffitt Cancer Center. But I will finally have some family coming to sit with me. And so I will miss all of you. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get back here, but I will be back, and hopefully next year fully participating in everything again. And thank you all for the support and the love I've gotten from you this year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane, and what you just shared, it moved me to share with you. My daughter, at age 42, got breast cancer. She had to have both of them removed. And then a couple of years later, the cancer moved to her left arm, and she had 9 lymph nodes removed. A couple of years ago, she had a tumor in her uterus, and all of them were cancer, and that was removed. And this year, a couple of months ago, she had skin cancer, and that was removed. And every day she gets up and she says, "Best day ever, Mom." Every day. She is now 55. And I will come and visit with you or stay with you if you'd like.
I'm Brad Harden, and I'm so sad to hear about Brock Leach. I met him almost 20 years ago, and he has been such a social justice contributor, very creative. I was up at Sarasota Unitarian Church a few weeks ago, thinking that we were going to have one of our Social Justice Alliance meetings there. It turned out I was in the wrong place. But Brock was leading a discussion on how to have a diverse social structure, and he was so good, and I'm surprised because he seemed so healthy, but he's been a wonderful person. We're so sorry to hear about him.
Recently has been an emotional roller coaster of sorrows and joy and gratitude for me. Our brother-in-law had a memorial service yesterday, and Doug was able to drive to Iowa to be there. My dear friend, who is silly and brave and crazy, and I've known since we were idiots in college together, entered hospice. And our son, Will, graduated from Meadville Lombard. And I am so grateful to Reverend Dr. Amy for getting my legs almost healed and for schlepping my wheelchair in and out everywhere. And I'm grateful to everyone in this congregation who delivered meals during our recovery. And Will, we're so proud of you.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that one, William. I could not be more proud of you as a person and as my colleague. I am honored to have you join us.
I'm Jack Head, and my joy is that the third book about people has been published. It's called The Wheel, and it's about the Underground Railroad. My sorrow is the dumbass that's in charge of our military has decided that the Unitarian Universalist symbol is no longer allowed on cemetery stones. He arbitrarily took the number of designs from over 200 down to 31, with no influence from anybody else but the 2 brain cells he's got.
Hi, I'm Patricia Mancini, and I've been gone for a while. I was in Chicago helping with my grandson, and my grandson has autism. He's 2.5, and now he's going to start an ABA program. And so my hope is and dream is that he'll be able to come out of himself, and that's really it. I just want to see him improve.
May the love of this community hold all who need love and concern. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of this world. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. May those who are grieving be comforted. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Peace, and may it be so.
The first reading today is by Chaplain Rumni Saha. How lucky that today you were able to be there for someone you did not know yesterday. You are now holding in your heart a precious commodity. Someone trusted you with what was irking them, what brought them joy, what enraged them, what frightened them, what moved them, or simply what is. Handle it with care. Brood over it for a bit. Hold them close to your heart for just a while longer. But remember, they are not yours to keep. They were handed to you today for safekeeping only. The meditation today, Community Means Strength, by Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses from time to time of community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. With these words in mind, please join me in a moment of thought, meditation, or prayer. teacher ever. Okay, the next reading, Be Ours a Religion. That's in quote, by Theodore Paca. Okay, for those of you who are from Massachusetts, Paca. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living. Rich and I had a discussion about this in the car on the way up, and I have to just quickly mention this, that is he defending his Unitarian religion? We think so. Please rise and body your spirit and join in singing number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Before I get too far into this, I just wanted to say a special thank you for lifting up the life of Brock Leach. Brock was also a professor at Meadville Lombard and taught the first-year intern class, one of the first-year intern classes. And I still feel the ways that he has impacted the ministry that I feel called to do. So thank you, and thank you all. So what does a minister even do, really? The question hangs in the air more like an accusation. The young child who spoke it staring up almost defiantly at the seasoned minister, a fresh face in the congregation. The minister stumbles a bit, almost spits out her coffee, and pieces together some stock answer about pastoral care and business administration and ritual facilitation. It is an answer that many have given before and many will give after. The child cocks their head to the side and after a short while says, "Well, a committee can do any of that." My spiritual companion's the most Unitarian child you will ever meet. What even is a minister? Glibly, someone engaged in ministry. I joke because it's a tricky question to answer, not the least which because a group of people can collectively sustain a ministry. In short, it can be run by committee. And you'd think that Having graduated from seminary, I'd be well equipped to answer that question, but I'll be honest. Right now, I think everything is ministry. And I'm not trying to abstract away the idea of a minister, mostly because then I'd be out of a job. But seminary has taught me that those qualities that make up a ministry can be found in anything that we do. They are not exclusive to religious professionals. They are approaches to living and encountering the world. And as cheekly as that initial answer is, I think understanding what a minister does will yield better results than asking what a minister is. Now, ministry, like any caregiving role, has to start with caring for yourself. To spin a gruesome metaphor, if you aren't tending to your own wounds, or at the very least aware of where you're bleeding, then when you embrace the world, you'll both come away covered in blood. The first step in becoming a minister is, ironically, understanding what you can't do, where you're still hurting, what will cause you to buckle under the pressure. It requires that you sit with your deepest vulnerabilities in the same way that you will be asked to sit with those of others. Not to expunge them from yourself like a metaphorical poison, but to ask yourself, what and where do I need to grow? And it is so often in those growing edges that we find the parts of the world that call to us, and find not just who we are, but who we want to be, who we need to be, even. This was the first year of my seminary, the focus of it. I learned about ethics and boundaries and conflict so that I could understand who I am and how I would react when poked by the world. That self-reflection is the foundation of how we encounter others. I read authors like Judith Butler, who points to those vulnerabilities as one of the shared central experiences of living. Our precarity, the very fact that that which is living can die, sits at the core of the empathic capability of life. We know how vulnerable we all are, how fragile we all are. I also read authors like Alfonso Lingus, who argues that the emotional imperative of encountering the precarious, vulnerable, fragile other is one of compassion, of kindness, of the impulse to give care. In learning how I must care for myself, I learn how I can care for others. Now, these are beautiful ideas, but we know that nothing throws a wrench in beautiful ideas like reality. A big part of ministry is being able to recognize where idealism ends and practicality begins. After all, nothing can truly prepare you for people. Now, this is one of the bigger surprises of ministry, that a lot of the time isn't spent delivering speeches or on big monumentous occasions. It's sitting and it's listening. It's listening to someone cry for so long that you can hear them in your sleep. It's sharing polite conversation on the bus every morning. It's what we call a ministry of presence, just being there, because sometimes that really is all you can do. And sometimes that's all you need to do, to let someone else grieve unalone. Ministry is often, whether real or metaphorically, holding a cloth up to a sick person's head, or feeding their deepest hungers, or helping them through those most vulnerable moments of their life. But more often, so much more often, It's just living with other people. That's part of what makes the care pastoral. And it's why I love traditions like a post-service coffee hour or the collective witness of joys and sorrows. They're little ways of leaning in and learning how to do that whole ministry of presence thing. To me, they show me that the ministry of this congregation and communities like it is not something that stops at the hem of a robe or at the edge of a pulpit. Anyone can hold a dying man in their arms, or watch over a sleeping relative so that someone else can take a phone call. Anyone can listen to the ways that a person has loved, been loved, broken and been broken. So then, again, if ministry can be done by anyone, why do we have ministers? So let's talk about some of the other things that ministers do. In addition to pastoral care, of which I promise I have only scratched the surface, a minister is also often expected to be a spiritual and administrative leader. These functions specifically pop up in the context of a community like a congregation. Now, we use a lot of different language to refer to these kinds of communities based on how they're organized and what tenets they idealize, but the fundamental principle is the same. Beyond a certain number of people, you need a person or people to serve to balance the wants and the needs and the curiosities of everyone. And it's no secret that the UUs are particular in our approach to ritual and spiritual practice. So much of a minister's role here is to learn the tastes of a congregation. Now, generally, we UUs don't like being told what to do, which can make putting together a religious service every week for a congregation of us tricky at times. You can't just follow a system a la the Catholic liturgical calendar. No matter how many times we've tried to mimic one, half the congregations end up just not using it, and the other half end up modifying it to kingdom come. As a denomination, we are constantly and continually innovating and remixing and iterating on these ideas that resonate with us. We are a living tradition, after all. What we call shared spiritual practice changes with each new person that comes through those doors and with each cherished memory and member that passes away. While this has given us a bit of a reputation of being bullheaded, I think the beautiful thing about UUs is that underneath it all, we actually really like trying new things. It's hard to be in UU spaces and not get at least a little bit curious about other people's lives and their practices. And so part of a successful ministry is also getting people to realize that they already want to do something and then go out and do it. I think it's easy to muddy the waters when you do this, especially when it's dealing with churchcraft. It's very tempting to want to approach it like a buffet table, laying out as many options as possible and letting people take whatever they want. But as I so painstakingly learned over the course of my internship, writing sermons with my supervisor, if there's too much going on, none of it will actually stick. Cultivating curiosity also means curating selections such that not only do people ask for more, they go out and find it, and then bring it back to share with the group. Now, this last pillar, administration, is many ministers' least favorite part of the job. At the worst of times, it can feel like we're more of a CEO than a minister. Like we're so caught up in the red tape that we lose sight of the part of the job that called to us in the first place. Now, I'm not necessarily going to defend all of the bureaucracy or the silly ways that people act around large sums of money, but this past year and the year before it has really changed how I look at administration as part of my ministry, and I owe part of that change to Brock. In addition to caring for the individual members of a congregation and caring for the ritual space of that congregation, a minister cares for the system of the congregation itself. Ministry is caring for the individual nodes on the interconnected web of all existence, as well as caring for the connections themselves. Ministry requires developing the skill to move away from a single flower and see the garden in its entirety. And, just like gardening, it requires being present through seasons of cycles of growth and death, learning from the old tree and the failed transplant alike those ways that the garden is inclined to flourish. And then, once they've become attuned to these patterns, the minister places a single green thumb on the scale. My internship site had a rummage sale that's closing this year. They're actually going through it right now, this weekend. And for 36 years, it had served the area as a way to not only get goods to those who need it and to raise money for other worthy causes, but as a means of facing the community with open doors. It was truly inspiring to see just how much that tradition had shaped the history of that congregation, meet all of the people where the rummage sale was the first thing they came to. Even so, this is its last year. And in the years to come, around this time, there will be a missing presence in the backs of the minds of those who have known it. The community, the church, the system itself will feel that absence. How, then, do we tend to the ways our congregations will grieve as systems? And how do we ensure that those fallen oaks may release their stored up nutrients back into the soil around them so that other trees may one day grow to rival or even surpass their heights? I ask you, what seeds can we plant now? That, to me, is the truest essence of ministry, caring for a system. Which is why, returning to that original question, what is a minister? I think ministry can show up anywhere. Yes, everything that a minister does can be done by a committee because each of us embodies those aspects of ministry in our own way. Anywhere where someone has done the work to understand their own vulnerability and in doing so found the impulse to care for the vulnerabilities of others, whether they be human or not, there is ministry there. Anywhere where someone approaches a relationship with the curiosity of the ways that they could grow together, there is ministry there. And anywhere where someone has found a deep love for the interconnected web of existence and cultivated a desire to see it flourish, there is ministry there. Only one person in a community might be called minister, but ministry is not bound to those who wear robes. My spiritual companions, there is a potential for ministry in everything that we do and everything that happens here. Thank you for letting me be part of the ministry of this community. Peace, and may it be so. We extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the ministry that it represents. May its light live on in the care that we offer, the work that we share, and the love that we practice together. I now invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our final hymn, number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. Go in peace, knowing that this community is not built by one person alone. It is built by all of us. One act of love, one word of welcome, one shared hope at a time. Peace, and may it be so. Now you get to Peter.